It's gonna be great. Aloha, alafia, and welcome everybody to your full moon in Aquarius reading. This is the second full moon in Aquarius in this moon cycle. We had one at the end of July, and now we are here at 29 degrees, a critical degree point at the end of August, to really celebrate our graduation. 29 degrees is always a graduation point in any zodiac sign, and it's really about what has our journey been and what has that look like over this cycle. So if you go back, I do have a reading for the full moon in Aquarius in July. I highly encourage you to go back to that reading. Watch it if you haven't yet already. See what has come up for you, what energies you have been moving through or working with in this moon cycle, and then come back here to this reading to really hone in on what that clarity, what that graduation looks like for you and where you're going into the future. Aquarius energy is all about the I know. It is all about the future. And it's not just our future, but the big future, the collective future as well. And with this moon being at that 29 degree graduation point, this is a knowing moon. Now our vision has been cleared. Now we see truth. We see our direction forward. We have that knowingness of where we are going into the future. And that shows up in this spread. In fact, it's one of our last questions, talking about what is going to be coming into focus for us. So let's go ahead and get started. The overall energy of the deck came in as the 10 of air. 10 of air. So air sign, Aquarius is an air sign, and Aquarius showing up in its own reading, which is beautiful because this 10 of air truly signifies endings and beginnings. It signifies those endings that are graceful, the endings that we release with ease, and the beginnings that aren't chaotic. They're not something that we get pushed into, that, we kind of don't have a choice. These are beginnings that are very intentional, very grounding. A big part of this card, and as you can see here, she's like blowing away these feathers. A big part of this card's message is about the ending of the old ways of thinking. Air energy is a lot about our mind, a lot about communication, and ending the old ways of thinking, not only about ourselves, about others, about the collective, and having these aha moments potentially that have happened from last full moon to this full moon about that clarity of vision, about what endings you're going through and what beginnings that you need to take on as we continue to move through these cycles of energies. So that is our overall card kind of guiding the deck today. Our first question is, which forms of communication do we need to limit or release at this time? And the card that came out was the 2 of fire. So the 2 of fire in this deck signifies co-creation. It's trusting in the unknown, planning for your future, allowing your light to shine through, allowing your light, spirit's light, to guide you into your next cycle. With the 2 of fire here, and again, when we look at the question, what forms of communication do we need to limit or release at this time? This card really honed in for me on any sort of communication that is outside of your truth, outside of your knowing, any sort of truth that keeps you in a fixed mindset. We have this depiction of this girl here sitting on a giraffe, which is holding the light, signifying spirit. And one of the things that really came out for me in this card with this question was, what types of communication, whether that's to yourself or to others, are you having that is keeping you small? I'm only 5'3". So there's a lot of things that I cannot reach. I can't reach the top shelves of my cabinets. In fact, I barely have anything up there because I can't reach them. There's a lot of things because of my height that I am limited to do on my own without assistance. Now, she is also maybe of a similar stature, right? But just because I'm small, she's small, you're small in height, does not mean that we need to act small. We need to remain small. If I can't reach something at the top of the shelf because I'm 5'3", there are choices for me. I can get a step stool. I can climb on a countertop. Believe me, if you catch me in a grocery store, you'll probably see me standing on the edge of the fridge trying to come up and grab something. If I see somebody taller than I am that can reach it for me, I am going to ask for assistance and ask for help. And that is what this card is really, to me, when I dove into it, was really signifying, is you have ways. You are big of body, big of power, big of spirit. Allow those things to guide you and to embrace your greatness. Stop keeping yourself small. Stop staying in that fixed mindset of, I'm only 5'3". I'm never going to be able to reach this top shelf. Woe me. Oh darn. What am I ever going to do? Instead, embrace the fact that, hey, I'm only 5'3", but I have tools at my disposal. I have people that care about me, that are willing to pour into me to continue for me to embrace and to bring forth my greatness. Find those people, those things, those objects in your life that truly keep you in co-creation, that truly keep you in alignment with growth mindset, in growth towards your destiny, towards your purpose. Any other form of communication outside of that, leave for the birds. There's a lot of things going on right now, and I know over the last week and a half, I really had a moment where I had to stop and understand that I was overwhelmed with the amount of information and communication that was coming to me. There is a lot of energy going on in the world right now, and I had to understand that it was okay to stop that narrative, to stop that conversation, to remove myself from, Instagram for a day or so, to turn off the TV, to center back down, ground back into spirit, and ground back into my power, the things that I can control. So that way then I could clear that vision. I could come into knowing and move forward. And that's okay. You have permission to do that. You have permission to release communication that does not serve you, to stay away and back away from narratives and storylines that are no longer part of you. And in fact, you're encouraged to do so at this time. Next question is, what is limiting our vision of the future? And the card that came up is love. And in this deck, love is, is aligned with the strength card in regular tarot. Leo showing up, at this full moon. The time of the full moon is still in Leo season, and then we turn into Virgo season later on in that day. So Leo showing up big and strong. This card is all about unity and the giving and receiving. So when we think about our question, what is limiting our vision of the future right now? That limit comes from separation, the illusion of separation, the narrative that we are not all connected, that the earth, the sky, the moon, the stars, the trees, the grass, the wind, the plants, the animals, us as human beings, that we are not all unified and connected, and of a, that what I do or what you do in the world, to quote one of my soul sisters, my best friend, ripples in the matrix, that what I do creates ripples in the matrix that then goes out into the world, and you create change in that manner. So that is really what this card is signifying. Suri speaking up here. Let me repeat it for you, Suri. This is what is limiting our vision of the future right now, is that illusion of separation, of non-unity. The other message that came through very clear was what can also limit you is the disruption of flow in giving and receiving. So the universe, as we start to manifest our desires, as we start to work diligently towards our destiny, towards our purpose, and starting to fulfill those things, we have to be in the flow of giving and receiving. And if you have ever been stuck or don't like giving, don't like receiving, there are some great tools out there, especially on YouTube. There's some great books that talk about the power of being in that flow. I know for myself personally, I really struggled with receiving compliments. I felt that if I received a compliment, I needed to shy away from them. I needed to keep myself small. And then I also felt like I always had to say something back. I always had to give back to that person. And what I got in the habit of doing that's served me very well is when somebody gives me a compliment, I simply say, thank you, I accept and receive that. And that's it. And then I take that and I pass it along. This is where giving and receiving comes in for. There are many ways to give and receive. And for me, I accept and receive the compliment, and then I try to give a compliment to somebody else. So that way we're continuing that ripple. We're continuing that energy flow across, again, Aquarius, across the big picture, across humanity. Next question was, what impact are our choices having on a global scale? 2 cards came out of this one. One, temptation. The second, the high priestess. So what I got from these 2 cards, again, the question, what impact are our choices having on a global scale? There are 2 very clear choices here. You can choose to be in the energy of temptation. Make sure I got that right, temptation. Or you can choose to be in the energy of the high priestess. Whichever you choose is exactly where you need to be. And your choice is your choice alone. If you are, temptation is just what it sounds like. If you are struggling with attachments, if you are struggling with excess, if you are struggling with addiction to anything, that could be shopping, food, it could be sex, it could be gambling, it could be porn, whatever that is. If you are struggling in this area, that is the energy that you continue to bring into you and continue to put out into the world, giving and receiving. So this card truly talks about the excess of everything in life, and the way in which we hold on to things, right? We don't want to let them go. We hoard them. Right? It's the excess and it's close to us. It's the lack mentality. That is a choice. And that energy, if that's the energy that we're in and that's the energy that we choose to stay in, that is the energy that is going to continue to flow to us and out from us into the world. But there is another choice. There's the high priestess. The High Priestess, especially in this card with this beautiful goddess symbol, right? You have every aspect of the goddess here. You've got your 2 crescent moons with the full moon, and in the full moon you have the Celtic knot. And the High Priestess is really the embodiment of intuition. It's the embodiment of experience. It's the embodiment of trust, and it's the embodiment of growth. And it's knowing that you have all of that at your disposal, and a trusting and allowing the flow of giving and receiving to come through you, and then push out into the world, into the collective, creating those ripples. So yes, you have this choice of staying in that kind of addiction, that excess, that attachment, or you can come into this very nurturing, very welcoming, very birthing energy of manifestation, of growth, of abundance. When you're manifesting, one of the key points of manifesting is, before you lay down your intentions and ground into your desires, it's the statement of this or something better. And that can come out in many different phrases and forms. But what the intention you're setting is I understand that I do not see all. I see a very small, narrow viewpoint of a very big picture. And I also, as humans, have been known to keep ourselves small. And because of that, I am asking for certain things, and I am committing to doing the work to get those things. However, if there is something better for me, allow that to come through. And it's being okay with then how that shows up, right? Maybe your intention is to ride an elephant. That's your intention. I want to ride an elephant. Be open to how that shows up for you. This was actually one of my intentions. How it ended up showing up for me, that if I didn't, or if I continued to be in a mindset of being small and a fixed mindset, I would have never have ridden an elephant in Thailand with my son. That wasn't my original intention. It was just, I want to ride an elephant. That's what I wanted to do. But through being open, through being in High Priestess energy, that is how it showed up for me. And that was something better. And that's amazing. So you do, and then that again obviously ripples out. So you do have 2 choices, and that does affect globally what happens. What you put out onto the earth also then comes back to you, giving and receiving. Next question. What is coming into focus for us over the rest of this year? The card that came up was the Hierophant. So this card actually came out in the New Moon in Leo reading with the question of how do we express ourselves in healthy and empowered ways? And now it's here again telling us this is what's coming into focus for us over the next part of this year, the rest of this year. This is the female aspect of the Hierophant. Again, this talks about the spiritual practice, the connection to source, whatever that looks like for you. This card is truly about your daily rituals. What type of spiritual rituals do you have that you are doing in order to help clear that vision, in order to ground you in to your purpose, to help you move forward, to create this energy and ripple effect into the world, to keep you in unity and to keep you aiming bigger, to keep you in your power, in your greatness, to help you continue to have this cycle of endings and beginnings. And the Hierophant talks through rituals of Again, that can show up so many ways: prayer, meditation, gratitude, journaling. This, what I'm doing right here, is a ritual. The full moon and new moon readings, that is a ritual. And you can hone in so many different ways for rituals, and they don't have to be super spiritual. It could be every single moon you just look up to the sky and go, I see you. La Luna, thank you. Thank you for being here. And that's it. But it is a ritual, and it is something that you do, and it's a consistent habit that you've formed. So that's really what it's talking about, is into this next year. What are those rituals? What are those spiritual practices that you need to either start or that you are starting that is helping to really align with that vision of the future for you? The other thing that I will state is on this card, there is 2 rings here. This does talk about vows. This card does come with the energy of vows. That can be vows to yourself to keep your practices up. That can be vows to a significant other. It could be vows to family, friends, however that is showing up for you. That also may be something that is coming into your reality, into your future over this next half of the year, is what type of vows maybe you're taking for yourself, initiations you're doing for yourself, or what type of vows you are giving to others or to yourself as well. And then to end the reading, we have an overall energy card for, what you can do going forward, kind of your guidance, if you will. And this card was taken from the Oracle of the 7 Energies. All decks will be listed in the description below. And the card is, it is what it is. So this card talks about radical acceptance, engaging life on life's terms, observing circumstances and taking them at face value, and recognizing and releasing resistance and denial. What happens when you look at the world? Can you see it exactly as it is, or only how you assume it to be? A door closing, which that shows here, isn't an invitation to take a battering ram to it. What if there were another door to lead you to your destiny? If you can release your attachment to getting what you want, you'll be surprised by how much energy you have for more important things, right? Here we go. Liberated from the burden of yearning, you have access to what is best for all. Again, Aquarius energy, for all. Can you try now to accept things as they are and shift your focus and attention until that other door opens up for you? So that is your reading, your full moon in Aquarius reading. There is, with the 10 of air, a really beautiful mantra that I am going to be putting in the description box. I will read it here, but I'll put the copy of it in the description box, so that way as you go through this next moon cycle, if you are developing into some of those practices or are looking for ways to start doing that, this can be a really beautiful mantra that you just say to yourself daily, weekly, whenever you need it. And that can kind of help start and jumpstart that process. But also, if you are struggling anywhere with the attachment, the endings and the beginnings, and really wanting to move into more of that high priestess energy, this can really help ground that in for you. It's all up from here as I bless the ending, grateful for the lessons I have learned that can free me from patterns that no longer serve me. I allow my circumstances to end with grace, as I know something better can appear at any time. I am thankful that from now on, I can respond differently to any challenging situation. That's been your reading. Thank you so much for joining me. If you liked this, please press the thumbs up button, subscribe, share with your friends. You can find all of my information below in the description box. I look forward to seeing you for the new moon in September. Aho, ashe, asheo, and namaste.